Hello, dear AP TET candidates. Welcome back to my Grammar for Success channel. I am Koresh Babu, a retired lecturer in English from Hyderabad. In this video, I am going to teach you the story of Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. I therefore request all of you to watch this video till the end without skipping it in the middle. And I also request all of you to like and share this video with all your friends who are also going to take the TET examination very shortly along with you. Thank you so much. Now let's get into the video. In this video, you are going to learn about the brief story of Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a beautiful novel, and at the same time, you are also going to learn about the literary devices that are employed in this novel. These two things you are going to learn. At the same time, you are also going to solve a small exercise consisting of 30 multiple choice questions that you have to answer on your own in order to check the comprehension of the summary and the literary items and so on. Right, and now let's get into the video. See, this is Harper Lee, and this is only the writer that has written this beautiful novel To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird, written by Harper Lee. And that is Harper Lee in her old age. First of all, I would like to talk to you about this writer. Harper Lee was an American novelist. You know, she was an American novelist. So she was born in America, therefore she has been called the American novelist. And here she was born in 1926, where Monroeville, Alabama. Right, and all these details are very clearly written here. You can look at them again and again. Okay, Lee grew up where? In the racially segregated. Racially segregated means racially separated, racially isolated American South. American South means in those days, in the southern American part, there used to be rampant racial discrimination, and that is why all the southern region, Southern America, for example, America is like this, okay? America is like this, okay? It's like this. So this is Oregon, okay? And this is Northern America, this is Southern America. So in Southern America, this is Florida, and here Georgia, here Alabama is there. So in Alabama state only she was born, and this is the Georgia state, in which there is a city called Atlanta, and in that Atlanta, right now, I am staying with my sons. Okay, and here this is the southern region, Southern America, and in this Southern America, in those days, there used to be a lot of racial discrimination. In those days means during 1930 and so on. Of course, even today also you can find racial discrimination in many parts of this Southern America, okay, but that cannot be, you can say, publicly exposed, but they maintain that racial discrimination. In the heart of hearts, they have that racial discrimination, but they don't exhibit it openly or publicly. They generally don't talk to the black people, so that is their nature and all that. So in that way they maintain some kind of racial discrimination. So in that way, this Southern America was racially segregated. In that racially segregated Southern America, she grew up. And you go to the next point. She was best known for To Kill a Mockingbird. So this was her first novel, and this first novel had brought her a lot of name and fame from all over America and from all over the literary domain and all that. So that's why she was best known for To Kill a Mockingbird, a Pulitzer Prize winning novel. What kind of novel is this? It was a Pulitzer Prize winning novel. That means now it won the Pulitzer Prize. Pulitzer Prize means a very prestigious prize, okay, that can be conferred on the people who contribute richly to the literary world. This Pulitzer Prize was awarded to her for this beautiful novel that became a modern American classic. This novel, To Kill a Mockingbird, has become now what? A modern American classic. So it is like that. You go to the next point. To Kill a Mockingbird was her debut novel. Debut means first novel, debut novel. And here remained her only major published work for a decade. markets for decades. That was published in 1960, 1970, 1980, 1990. For several decades, it has been only her major published work. So this is all about this Harper Lee. Next point about her is she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2007 for her contribution to literature. So here this Harper Lee was also awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So this Presidential Medal of Freedom is also a very prestigious award that can be conferred on those people that contribute richly to the literary domain. And here major literary works of Harper Lee. So what are the major literary works of Harper Lee? Only two are there. To Kill a Mockingbird, it was her first literary work, is a major literary work, and that brought her a lot of name and fame. And next, Go Set a Watchman. This was published in 2015, and here that was another literary work. These two are her novels. Okay, and later on other writings, non-fiction or essays. What are those other writings? Means Love in Other Words, that was published in 1961, Christmas to Me 1961, When Children Discover America 1965, In Cold Blood 1966, Uncredited Assistance. It is not her own work, not her book, but Harper Lee assisted Truman Capote, okay, extensively in research. This is the actual writer of this book, and this Harper Lee assisted him extensively, and therefore a little bit credit will go even to Harper Lee also. So that is why this is also put here. And you go to the last point about this Harper Lee. Lee's works explore racial injustice. Now we have come to the actual point of this writer. In all her writings, you can come across racial injustice. She wrote only on racial injustice, moral growth, moral values, ethical values, and so on innocence, on empathy. Empathy means, is showing sympathy for other people and trying to help them, and social inequality. Okay, so on all these aspects, she wrote in her writings. So this is all about this Harper Lee's introduction and biography. Now you move on to learn about the summary of this novel very briefly. Detailed summary of To Kill a Mockingbird. So we are going to learn about the summary of this novel, and here you pay attention. Setting means the place of action. Where has this story taken place? Means it has taken place at Macomb. Macomb is what? A fictional town located in Alabama. It is not the real town, but it is only a fictional town. And when was this story written? Means during the Great Depression that took place in 1930s. What is this Great Depression? Great Depression was the most severe and longest lasting economic crisis of the 20th century. And this Great Depression began with the collapse of the US stock markets on 29th October 1929 and continued throughout the 1930s. And during this depression, the industrial production collapsed, banks failed, international trade sharply declined, millions lost their jobs, businesses shut down, millions of families struggled to survive. That thing happened during this Great Depression, and during that time, in 1930s, this novel was written. Who are the main characters of this novel? Means here you pay attention. Scout Finch or Jean Louis Finch. Okay, she has got two names, Scout Finch. You can also call her Jean Louis Finch. This is the narrator of this story. Okay, this is the narrator of the story, young narrator. Okay, curious, very enthusiastic, and intelligent and innocent. So all these good qualities are there. This Scout Finch. Okay, this is Scout Finch. This is the main character of this novel. And you go to the next character, Jem Finch. This is Scout's older brother, not younger brother, older brother. Third character of this novel is Atticus Finch. This is the father of these two youngsters. Okay, what was he? He was a lawyer. The moral backbone of the story. So this Atticus Finch was the leading character of this novel, and he was the moral backbone of the story. Okay, and Boo Radley, another character is there. He is also an important character in this novel. Reclusive neighbor. Reclusive means isolated, solitary or lone, ontariana. That means, this neighbor lives all alone in a house. He doesn't come out of his house. He doesn't mingle with others. Okay, he doesn't talk to his neighbors and all that. So in that way, he was therefore called a reclusive neighbor, a symbol of misunderstood goodness. He was a good man, but he was misunderstood to be a bad man. And that is all about Boo Radley. And another character of this novel is Tom Robinson. He was a black man and unjustly accused of raping Mayella Ewell. So he was accused of raping this Mayella Ewell. And why he was accused of raping Mayella Ewell, I am going to tell you while learning the story. And you go to the next character, Bob Ewell. And this Mayella's father, he was a racist. Racist means one who observes the racial discrimination is called a racist. Jati vivakshitanu patinchevanni racist antam. Okay, and abusive antagonist. Abusive means very offensive antagonist. Antagonist means enemy or a rival. And you go to the last character of this novel is Kalpurnia, Finch family's cook, strict but caring. So these are the very, very important characters of this novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. Now let us see how the story goes on. Before going to tell you the story of this novel, let me talk to you about the bird mentioned in the title. Mockingbird means what? Have you ever seen this mockingbird? These are the mockingbirds. They look very innocent. They know only how to sing. And here one note is given under this. What is that? The mockingbird is the central symbol of the novel. This mockingbird is the central symbol of the novel, representing innocence. This mockingbird stands as a symbol for innocence. It stands as a symbol for goodness. It also stands as a symbol for the idea of not harming those who do not harm others. So that means, this bird stands as a symbol for the idea. What is that idea? Of not harming those. Who are they? Who do not harm others. Whoever does not harm others, such a man should not be harmed by anybody. For that idea, for this goodness, for this innocence, this mockingbird stands as a symbol. Atticus tells his children, Atticus Finch, you know very well, the lawyer, the leading character of this novel, he tells his children that it is sin to kill a mockingbird. So it is a sin to kill a mockingbird. See how innocent this bird is, how sweet this bird is, and if at all you kill this bird, it is really a big sin. Therefore, this Atticus tells his children that it is a sin to kill a mockingbird because these birds only sing and bring joy. These innocent birds will only sing and bring joy to you. Okay, and they cause no harm to others. They don't cause any harm to anybody. And that is the case, why do you try to harm such birds? That is meaningless. And here this idea becomes a moral foundation for understanding the novel's main conflicts. So these birds are very innocent, very nice, and they bring joy to the people. And killing these birds is really a sin. And therefore, you should not harm these birds. Here, mockingbird should not be harmed means innocent people and good people should not be harmed. So, mockingbird means from now onwards, you understand that an innocent man, a good man who does not do any harm to anybody. That is the point you have to keep in mind while learning this story. Okay, right. Summary of To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee is a novel set in the 1930s in the fictional town of Macomb, Alabama. So during the period of the Great Depression. So there are three points in this point. To Kill a Mockingbird was written by Harper, 1 point, and this novel was set in the 1930s. In the 1930s means during the days of 1930s. So how the people were there in the 1930s, how the society was there in the 1930s, okay, how the people behaved with one another in the society in the 1930s. So that's why the novel has been set during that period, that time, and moreover it was set in the fictional town of Macomb. Macomb was what, a fictional town, and it was said to have been located in Alabama during the period of Great Depression. About the Great Depression, I have already told you, you know very well. And here, these are the points you have learnt in 1 point. The story is narrated by Jean Louis, that is Scout Finch. Scout Finch or Dewey Louis Finch, anything you can say, because in the examination they might ask you a question on this. So this story was narrated by Jean Louis Scout Finch, a young girl. She was a young girl who lives with her brother Jim. Jem was her older brother and their widowed father. And this young girl was living not only with her brother but also with her father. Father was a widowed father. Widowed father means this father had lost his wife. So that means these young children lost their mother and they were living with their widowed father. That is Atticus Finch. He was a principled lawyer. Principled lawyer means he was a disciplined lawyer. And here you pay attention. Scout and Jim befriend a boy named Dill, and the three become fascinated with their mysterious, reclusive neighbor Arthur Boor Radley. So here you understand that this is Scout, okay, and this Jim, brother and sister. These two have made friends with a boy named Dill, and these three, what happened? These three together become fascinated with their mysterious. Mysterious means ununderstandable. You can't understand. Yes, and reclusive, isolated. Okay, solitary. Okay, living lonely, reclusive, lone neighbor. Some neighbor is there. He was living all alone and he was not to be understood by anybody, and that is none other than Arthur Boor Radley. So they were all very much fascinated by the life of this Arthur Boor Radley, who was very mysterious to these children. He was also a reclusive neighbor. He was a lone neighbor. He wouldn't come out of his house and he wouldn't mix up with the neighbors. He wouldn't talk to anybody in the locality. So that's why he was called a reclusive neighbor and all that. So here, while their childhood adventures, this Scout, Jem, Dill, they were all young children and they wanted to bring this Arthur Boor Radley out from his house. So that was their motto. But while their childhood adventures revolve around trying to make Boo come outside, they were trying to bring this Arthur Boor Radley out of his house. While they were trying like this, what happened? The novel gradually shifts towards a serious tone when Atticus agrees to defend a black man, Tom Robinson, who is falsely accused of raping a white woman, Myla Evel. On one hand, while the young children, Jem, Scout and Dill, were trying to bring this reclusive neighbor, that is Arthur Boor Radley, out of his house. So here what happened, the story moves forward and it acquires a serious tone. When Atticus Finch agrees to defend a black man, he was a lawyer. He takes up the cases. He wants to do some justice to the people that come to him. Okay, and here he has agreed to defend a black man, that is Tom Robinson. And this Tom Robinson was falsely accused of raping a white woman, that is Myla. It was really a pity that black man Tom Robinson was falsely accused of raping a white woman, Myla Evel. During the trial, so the case was taken to the court, and during the trial, Atticus proves that Tom is innocent. And he also proved that Myla's father, that is Bob Evel, is the one who actually abused her. Actually, what happened now, this Myla, okay, this Myla has loved this Tom Robinson. The actual story is like that, because I cannot give all the story here. Okay, and it becomes very lengthy and all that. Actually, this Mayella, this white woman, loves this Tom Robinson. One day what happens, she tries to give a kiss to this Tom Robinson. While she was in the act of giving a kiss to this Tom Robinson, this Bob Evil, the father of this Mayella, happens to see that objectionable thing, and he becomes very much infuriated. Because in those days, in the society of 1930s, there was a taboo. A white woman talking to a black man is a taboo. A white woman falling in love with a black man is a taboo. Okay, and there were so many taboos, and even the white women were not allowed to look at the black people or talk to the black people and love the black people, and all such things were there in the society of 1930s American South. So that there were so many taboos. But here what happened, this Mayella, a white woman, has fallen in love with this Tom Robinson, a black man, and moreover she has tried to give a kiss to him. And in the act of giving a kiss to this Tom Robinson, this Bob Evil has happened to see that. And he becomes very much infuriated. And he doesn't like it. And what does he do? He brings this Mayella home and he beats her very severely. After abusing his own daughter, after beating his own daughter very severely, this Bob Evil thinks if the matter of beating his own daughter is known to the society, the people in the society will ask him why he has beaten his own daughter very severely and all that. And then he has to reveal the reason for that. And thus they will definitely come to know that his daughter has fallen in love with a black man. All such things have come into his mind, and that's why, in order to save himself and his family from the disgrace of the society, he has created a story that this Tom Robinson has raped his daughter Mayella. And in fact, that was a baseless allegation, that was a false allegation, and that's why it could not stand in the court, and that's why this Atticus could prove that Tom was innocent. Despite the evidence, evidence proved that Tom was innocent, very good and all that. It was proved that he did not rape Mayella and all that. But what happened? All white jury, that means, the group of judges were all white people, racist people. Whites are racist generally. So here all white jury convicts this Tom. So even then the judges who are all racist white people convicted Tom, exposing the deep-rooted racism of Southern society. During those days in the Southern America, that was called Southern society, there were so many taboos. In the Southern society, the white Americans maintained terrible racial discrimination. So that was there, and that's why, exposing their deep-rooted racism, these judges convicted Tom Robinson, and Tom later tries to escape from prison and he is shot dead. So this was an unfortunate thing, and this Tom was taken to the prison, and from the prison he made an attempt to escape, and during that attempt he was shot dead. The story was over. And now what happened? Let us see that here. Bob Evil, humiliated by the trial, and Bob Evil, father of Mayella, what happened? Humiliated, insulted by the trial. And during the trial, it was clearly proved that this Bob Evil has concocted that story or fabricated the story that Tom Robinson raped his daughter. So it was made clear to the judges. It was made clear in the court. So that's why he was very much humiliated by the trial. Seeks revenge on Atticus. He wanted to take revenge on this Atticus Finch. One night he attacks Jem and Scout. One night this Bob Evil attacked Jem and Scout. These were the young children. But Boo Radley unexpectedly saves them. And then this Boo Radley, the reclusive neighbor who does not come out of his house, who does not mix up with others, who does not talk to anybody in the locality. So then that man comes out of his house and saves them, killing Evil in order to protect, killing them. He killed this Bob Evil in order to protect the children. In an attempt to protect the children, this Boo Radley comes out of his house. okay, for the first time, and he kills Bob Evil. And now what happened? Sheriff means the police inspector Hecate decides to report that Evil fell on his own knife to shield Boo from public attention. So in order to shield Boo, that means in order to protect Boo, in order to save Boo from public attention, what happened? This sheriff, the police inspector, decides to report that Bob Evil fell on his own knife and he died on the spot, symbolizing the idea that harming an innocent person like Boo or Tom is like killing a mockingbird. Boo Radley was an innocent person and Tom Robinson was an innocent person. So here, harming an innocent person like Boo or Tom is like killing a mockingbird. Mockingbird is very small, very innocent. It can only sing and bring joy to you. If you are killing a good man means you are killing a mockingbird. If you are killing an innocent man means you are killing a mockingbird. So here this police officer saved this Boo because Boo was an innocent man. It was a good man. The novel ends with a scout standing on Boo Radley's porch. Porch means on veranda. So here this scout was standing on Boo Radley's porch. Finally, understanding empathy. But empathy is different from sympathy. Sympathy means showing concern for others' troubles. But empathy means showing concern for others' troubles and helping in them in person. సింపతి అంటే కేవలం జాలి చూపించడం, అయ్యో అనడం. కానీ ఎంపతి అట్లా కాదు. జాలి చూపడం మాత్రమే కాదు, అయ్యో అనడమే కాదు, వారికి ప్రాక్టికల్గా హెల్ప్ చేయడం. దట్ ఈస్ దేర్. And getting involved in their troubles, getting involved in their sorrows and helping them in person. That is called empathy. So that is that understanding empathy. Truly, what is empathy? To truly understand someone, you must walk in their skin and walk around it. You must help them practically in their problems. ఊరికే కష్టాలు వచ్చిన అయ్యో అట్లా అయినదా చెప్పి అట్లా కాదు, నిజంగా కష్టాలలో వాళ్ళని ఆదుకోవడం, వాళ్ళతో పాటు పనిచేయడం, వాళ్ళకు సహకరించడం. దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఎంపతి. విత్ దిస్ summary will come to an end, and now we are going to learn about the literary devices employed by Harper Lee in this novel. Literary devices in To Kill a Mockingbird. What are the literary devices employed by Harper Lee in this novel? Means first, symbolism. Symbolism means what? Using objects and characters to represent deeper meanings. Okay, you will come across so many objects and characters that represent deeper meanings. Here you pay attention. Major symbols of this novel. What are they? The mockingbird is a major symbol. What does this stand for? This stands for innocence and harmlessness. For example, Tom Robinson and Boo Radley are mockingbirds in this novel. Okay, Tom Robinson was an innocent man and Boo Radley was also an innocent man, and they were just like the mockingbirds because they never harmed anyone. Okay, they were harmless people, right? And that's why this mockingbird is a major symbol in this novel. And you go to the next symbol, the Radley house. So Boo Radley's house, that represents fear, mystery and prejudice. So that is a symbol. You go to the next one, the camellias. The camellias means they are nothing but some kind of flowers. They symbolize forgiveness. Even if you pluck them, okay, they don't say anything, they simply forgive you. Okay, and moral courage, and they don't lose their moral courage. The flowers don't lose their moral courage, they bloom the next morning. That is called moral courage. Even though some of the flowers have been plucked, the other flowers will bloom the next morning. That means that stands as a symbol for forgiveness and moral courage. So in this way, the mockingbird, one major symbol, the Radley house, another symbol, the camellias, that means the flowers. Okay, these are the three symbols you can find in this novel. And you move on to other literary devices. You go to the next one, foreshadowing. Foreshadowing means what? Hints about future events. That means hinting about the future events. Foreshadowing is nothing but a beautiful literary device. It tells the audience or the readers what actually is going to take place in the coming story. So that is called foreshadowing. And here the children's fear of Boo Radley foreshadows. Here the children are there. Who are the children? Scout Finch and Jem Finch and Dill. These were the three young children. They feared Boo Radley. This foretells his later heroic appearance during the attack. So this foretells us that he is going to perform some heroic deeds in the story to come. Okay, and you go to the next example. Atticus's warning that it is a sin to kill a mockingbird foreshadows. This Atticus Finch tells his children that it is a sin to kill a mockingbird. This foreshadows that Tom's death and Boo's protection. So here, this Tom Robinson is a mockingbird. He is an innocent man, just like the mockingbird. So there is a comparison. So mockingbird means an innocent man here. So this Tom Robinson was an innocent man. He did not rape anybody, but even then that allegation was laid on him. He was falsely accused, and that is why he was just like a mockingbird. And here this tells us that this Tom's death and Boo's protection, right? So here these two things foreshadow these things. You go to the third one, that is imagery. Imagery means mental pictures. Okay, when you read some story, you get some mental picture. That mental picture, the set of mental pictures. Okay, the group of mental pictures themselves are called what? Imagery. Descriptive language creating sensory impressions. Sensory impression means pictures in the mind. And here Lee uses vivid descriptions of Maycomb's heat. So here this Harper Lee gives us a vivid description about Maycomb's heat. In the town of Maycomb, there was a lot of heat. Okay, and about that heat, she gives a vivid description. And from that vivid description, you understand how much heat there was in Maycomb at that time. And the courthouse also, the Radley Yard, and the children's play to build atmosphere. So in all these areas, she gives some description. From those descriptions, you can get some beautiful pictures in your mind, right? And you go to the and now you go to other literary devices. Now you go to other literary devices.
That thing is not working. See that thing? This is not working. See?
After this, we are going out. We are going out to play. Is it cold outside, Nana? Sure, don't move because you stand here, Nana. And it will record even from there also.
Let's see.
Irony. What is this irony? The definition is clearly given here. A contrast between appearance and reality. So the appearance is different from reality. So the difference between the appearance and the reality itself is called the irony. You know that very well. And there are three kinds of irony. What is the first one? Dramatic irony. What is this dramatic irony? Dramatic irony means the audience knows something which the character does not know. For example, in Romeo and Juliet, Romeo does not know that Juliet is alive, but the audience knows that Juliet is alive. So that itself is called the dramatic irony. Here, people of Maycomb praise Atticus' integrity, but condemn him for defending a black man. So here, this is called dramatic irony. People praise Atticus Finch for his integrity, for his honesty, for his sincerity and all that. But at the same time, they condemn this Atticus Finch for defending a black man. Because in those days, defending a black man was deemed to be a crime. He deemed it to be a bad thing, an insulting thing. And that's why the people of Maycomb praise Atticus Finch's integrity, sincerity and honesty. But at the same time, they condemn him for defending a black man. So this is called dramatic irony. Situational irony. What is the situational irony? When the opposite of what is expected happens, that is called the situational irony. So here, Boo Radley was expected to be dangerous, was deemed to be dangerous. So the young children, Scout Finch, Jem Finch and Dill, they thought of him to be a dangerous man. But ultimately what happened? He proved to be a good man and a protector. That is called situational irony. And here verbal irony. That means whatever you say, the opposite of that is called the verbal irony. Here Miss Gates condemning Hitler's racism while showing racism herself. This Miss Gates is there. This lady, this condemns Hitler's racism, but she herself shows racism and maintains racial discrimination, and that is called verbal irony. So in this way, we have got three kinds of irony: dramatic irony, situational irony, verbal irony. Right. And now we move on to other literary devices. Point of view. That means perspective. What is the point of view of the story? Means the first person narrative. The first person narration from scout's perspective. So that is called point of view. The first person narration from scout's perspective. Scout Finch's point of view, the story has been narrated here. Her childlike innocence shapes the story. So here this Scout Finch was a little girl, a young girl, and from her perspective, the entire story has been narrated, and therefore her childlike innocence shapes the story wonderfully well. And here the adult scout, that means retrospective narrator, adds maturity and critical insight. Adult scout means when the scout Finch grows older, then that is called retrospective narrator. Then it adds maturity and critical insight. That means the story of the first few chapters has been narrated by this Scout Finch as a child. Then the remaining story of the chapters has been narrated by the grown-up Scout Finch. So that's why you can find in the first few chapters childlike innocence. In the last chapters you can find maturity of mind and critical insight and all that. So this is all about the point of view. You go to the next literary device, that is characterization. So characterization means creating believable complex characters is called characterization. Okay, creating believable complex characters. So here you pay attention, Atticus Finch is there. So he is characterized as a moral, calm and principled person. Okay, and here what is that? Mayella evil. So this girl is lonely and desperate, and she was characterized as a lonely person or a desperate person because she has loved Tom Robinson, but her father has become a big stumbling block on her way to love that man. Okay, to proceed further with that Robinson. Okay, and that's why she has been characterized as lonely and desperate. And here Boo Radley evolves from a scary figure. So Boo Radley has been characterized or described as a scary figure at the beginning of the story, but later on he has been turned into a gentle, protective person and all that. So in this way, the characters of this novel have been beautifully characterized or described. Seventh one, motifs. What do you mean by motifs? Recurring elements that develop themes. Recurring elements that develop themes are called motifs. Okay, recurring means coming again and again. What are the motifs that develop themes? Means prejudice, that is the first point, and courage, morality and justice, growing up and loss of innocence. These motives constantly reinforce the novel's central ideas. So in this way, these are the recurring elements that develop themes of this novel, and therefore these are called motifs. You go to the eighth one, allegory. Allegory. What is meant by allegory? Allegory is nothing but the symbolic representation of some event or some situation and so on. In this novel, you will come across the society that has been racially segregated. Therefore, about that society which was segregated racially in 1930s can be seen in this novel. Therefore, this is an allegory of the society that was racially segregated in the 1930s. The novel serves as an allegory for the injustice of racism in 1930s America. So this is an allegory of this 1930s America when there was rampant racial discrimination, racial injustice all over southern America. And the trial represents the failure of society to to protect the innocent. So here in this novel, you can find the courthouse and the trial also. Even though this Tom Robinson, the black man, was proved to be innocent, he was convicted and he was put behind the bars. So that indicates, the society that was there in 1930s was quite against the black people. So that thing also you can find in this novel. The trial represents the failure of society. That is nothing but the failure of society. The society of those days was racially segregated, and that is racially segregated society can never protect the innocent, just like Tom Robinson. Metaphor means indirect or implicit comparison. The mockingbird as a metaphor for innocent people who suffer. It directly stands for the innocent people. So all the innocent people are just like mockingbirds. So that means the innocent people are mockingbirds, or like the mockingbirds, whatever you can say. And Atticus as the moral backbone of Maycomb. So Atticus as the moral backbone means Atticus is like the moral backbone of Maycomb. So here the word like is omitted. Here like is omitted, and therefore these in these lines you can find this metaphor. And here you go to the 10th one. Allusion is there. Allusion means reference. What is that? Reference to events or texts. So in this novel you can come across several references to events or texts. What are they? Allusions to the Great Depression that took place in 1930 and the Jim Crow laws, okay, and the Bible appear throughout the novel. Throughout the novel, you can find the references to the Great Depression, to the Jim Crow laws, and to the Bible. 11th one, simile. Simile is the direct comparison. Comparisons using like or as. You know that very well. Here, Scout describes Boo's hands as white as his hands picked in the raw cotton. So, how are the hands of Boo Radley means? Here, they are as white as the raw cotton. You have seen the raw cotton, it will be very white. So in the same way, his hands are also as white as the raw cotton, something he says. And Maycomb is described as like a tired old town. How is this Maycomb? This fictional town, it is like a tired old town. So in this way, these are the similes, and this simile is the direct comparison. You know that very well. You go to the next one, hyperbole. Hyperbole means exaggeration. What is that here? Exaggeration for emphasis. And here the children's exaggerated stories about Boo Radley. So about Boo Radley, they have created their own stories in the exaggerated style and all that. 6 feet tall, blood-stained hands. Like that, they created their own stories about Boo Radley, and they are all exaggeration for emphasis. Reflect childhood imagination. Here that is called a hyperbole. You go to other literary devices. 13th one, personification. What is this personification? Giving human traits to non-human things. You know that very well. And here you pay attention. Maycomb was an old town, okay, but it was a tired old town. What is this tired? So generally tired is the word used for the human beings. Only the human beings can become tired, but not a town. But here this Maycomb is said to have become very much tired and all that. So that's why this human quality is attributed to this fictional town Maycomb. The town is described as if it has feelings. Okay, that is called personification, and you know that very well. Tone. What is the tone of this story? Harper Lee's tone shifts. Humorous, innocent in childhood scenes. So in the first few chapters, you can find only childhood scenes, and therefore you can come across humorous and innocent scenes. And later on, in the middle of the novel, you find it very serious, tense and critical during the trial. At the end of the novel, the tone will be reflective and moral and all that. So in this way, 1, 2, 3, 3 types of tones you can find in this novel To Kill a Mockingbird. You go to the last literary device. Themes. What are the themes that you can come across in this novel means? Here are mentioned a few of them. Racial injustice is one theme. Moral courage is another thing. Innocence versus experience, another thing. Empathy and understanding, another theme. And good and evil. So these are All these can be the themes of this beautiful novel To Kill a Mockingbird. And with this, the literary devices will come to an end. Now I am going to hold a small test for you. Please check your comprehension of this story and try to answer all of them on your own. At the end of the questions, I am going to give you the key also. Please, if at all you come across any problem, you please make a mention of it in the comment section. MCQs on To Kill a Mockingbird with answers. Okay, here the narrator of the novel is Jem Finch, Atticus Finch, Scout Finch, Dill Harris. Second question, that story is set in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Third question, To Kill a Mockingbird is primarily concerned with adventure, racial injustice, romance, war. Fourth question, Atticus Finch's profession is doctor, teacher, lawyer, judge. Fifth question, Boo Radley's real first name is Arthur, Robert, Nathan, Charles. Sixth question, who is accused of raping Myella Ewell? Bob Ewell, Boo Radley, Tom Robinson, Heck Tate. Seventh question, Tom Robinson's left arm is stronger than right, missing, crippled, tattooed. Eighth question, Scout's brother is Dill, Jem, Nathan, Bob. Ninth question, the gifts left in the knot hole were most likely placed by Jem, Dill, Boo Radley, Atticus. 10th question, which figure of speech is central to the novel's theme? Oxymoron, euphemism, symbolism, metonymy. A mockingbird symbolizes violence, innocence, greed, pride. 12th question, Myella Ewell lives in luxury, poverty, middle class comfort, a foster home. 13th one, Atticus teaches that real courage is shooting accurately, fighting bravely, moral strength, wealth. 14th question, the trial takes place in Mobile, Montgomery, Macomb Courthouse, Selma. 15th question, who threatens Atticus at the jail? Bob Ewell, a mob, Boo Radley, Heck Tate. 16th question, what stops Scout from being stabbed during the attack? A shield, her costume, Jem, Boo. 17th question, Bob Ewell dies because Boo kills him. That is actually the right answer, but he falls on his knife. That is the fabricated answer. Okay, Jem strikes him, a policeman shoots him. 18th question, the sheriff decides to protect Tom, Atticus, Boo Radley, Bob Ewell. 19th one, Harper Lee received which major award? Nobel Prize, Pulitzer Prize, Booker Prize, National Award. 20th question, Tom Robinson is shot while sleeping, escaping prison, fighting, talking to a god. 21st question, which character is known for strict discipline in the Finch household? Myella, Aunt Alexandra, Calpurnia, Maudie. 22nd question, Dill is based on Harper Lee's friend Truman Capote, Faulkner, Hemingway, Fitzgerald. 23rd question, the Mad Dog episode reveals Atticus as a coward, a reckless shooter, a skilled marksman, a hunter. 24th question, Scout learns empathy from Atticus' words. Be fearless, walk in someone's skin, always fight back, trust no one. 25th question, the Ewell family is known for violence and poverty, honesty, wealth, education. 26th question, Jem's reaction to the verdict shows immaturity, loss of faith in justice, happiness, indifference. 27th question, who becomes a mockingbird figure besides Tom, Bob Ewell, Boo Radley, Dill, Nathan? 28th question, the genre of the novel is Gothic romance, African fantasy, Southern Gothic, medieval drama. The 29th question, the narrative method used in the novel is First person retrospective, third person omniscient, second person objective narration. The last question of this exercise is 30th one. The novel ends with Scout leaving Macomb, arresting Boo, understanding Boo's perspective, teaching school children. With this, the small exercise will come to an end. Now you look at the answers for all these questions. So these are the answers for the questions from 1 to 10. These are the answers for the questions from 11 to 20. These are the answers for the questions from 21st to 30th. With this, the small exercise will come to an end. Hello dear AP TET candidates, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any problem in understanding any of the things that I have explained in this video, please make a mention of it in the comment section. With another video, I shall be back to you. Until then, bye. See you all of you.